This is Iboih Beach. I'm just getting mango juice from this nice lady over here. Planning to hit two of the most famous dive sites of Island of Weh, which are called the Canyon and Pantee Peunateung. Schools of fish, huge number of Moray eels. I mean, all over Island of Weh there are Moray eels. And this is my dive buddy, a German high schooler who took a gap year to travel around the world. The couple in front of us, they're also German. Talk about meeting Germans everywhere you go. I was really lucky to be matched with them, because usually you have to wait for more people to show up so the dive centers decide to make the trips, especially this far out. The canyon and Pantee Peunateung are not really near the Iboih beach, so it is quite costly, and us having 4 people who wanted to dive was very lucky and made it profitable for them to take us out here. In the canyon, you will get very beautiful, very magnificent sights underwater, canyons or gorges you can go through. Both of these dive sites are advanced level, so you have to have your advanced license in order to be able to dive in these two sites. We will go westwards around the 0 kilometer Indonesia landmark with the very distinguished Two Swords crossing, and head a bit southwards afterwards. If you look closely on the top of your screen, you will notice a little ball of joy. Yeah, that's an octopus is slowly backing away from us. The huge boulders in the canyon were quite special. I had never seen such giant rocks underwater. And apparently, even the tsunami that happened about 20 years ago couldn't really move any of these rocks, since these two dive sites that I'm visiting today are actually quite deep, so they remained untouched by the tsunami. But the ones that were shallower near iboih beach, those ones, unfortunately, they were devastated. About 70 to 90% of the corals were destroyed or wiped out. But the canyon, man, just so beautiful. Looking at these huge rocks and going through all the tight canyons that were created by them, quite a special. I had never experienced this before. But now it was time for something else. It was time for sea fan corals and giant moray eels. To be honest, moray eels are scarier to me than any other fish, even compared to sharks. As a diver, you never know from which nooks and cranny these things can appear. These hardcore defenders of the coral, which is basically their home, they're always ready to be very aggressive and defend the coral. They jump at you without any notice, and they could rip apart any part of your body with their sharp razor teeth. In conclusion, these prehistoric looking fish are nothing to be messed with, which is exactly what I did in one part of this video. On a side note, triggerfish are also not to be messed with. They're also defenders of the coral, and if you get close to their nesting ground, they will attack you very aggressively. Speaking of the devil, look at this moray eel just standing still, daring you to approach it. Which I didn't. Thankfully, I noticed it before I got too close. right here, as you noticed, there's a bit of jostle. I realized that my air tank is almost empty, so I kind of panic. I let the instructor know it's at 10%. It's almost finished. Like, air tanks should never be empty because it's very hard to clean them if there's no air in them. And I just keep having these thoughts in my mind, and I keep trying to tell the instructor to give me his spare regulator, but it takes him a while. In that like state of panic, I actually end up dropping my GoPro to the bottom of the ocean. Luckily for me, the instructor dives back in after we're out of the water, and guess what? He finds it, because without it, we wouldn't have this footage. So thankfully for me and for you guys, he got the GoPro. The moment he got to the surface and he just lifted his hand with my GoPro in his hand, totally legendary. I give him and the captain a fat tip because I was just so thankful. By fat tip, I mean just 100,000 each. The instructor later told me that 100,000 on Weh Island is basically nothing, so I increased it to 600 in total, 300 each, 300,000 rupiah. Whatever floats your boat, man. I'm just thankful, since I thought it was gone forever. This is the 0-kilometer Indonesia monument that I was talking about. This landmark marks the westernmost point of Indonesia, which is in Weh Island. Unlike most countries, Indonesia has their 0-kilometer point here, whereas countries such as Russia, the Great Britain, they have theirs in their capital cities. For Russia or most countries, it's basically the point where their railway system is connected to their capital city. But I guess because Indonesia cannot have them a national railway system like those countries, as it is an archipelago, as a result, they decided to put their Kilometer Nol Indonesia here in west of Weh Island. Did you hear that? That was the sound of me getting way too excited for seeing a barracuda. This little fella, or might I say the huge apex fish, was checking us out from a bit of a distance. They are very curious, barracudas, and pretty smart, but you better not mess with them because they are very fast, vicious, and ferocious. Did you hear that tapping sound? That was my instructor pointing out the battery of Barracudas that were just passing over our head. It's one of the coolest things seeing these guys together. They're just ready to pounce at any type of prey, and I don't want to be one of them, so we try to be as non-threatening as possible. Infamous lionfish, known for destroying the ecosystem in the Caribbean, they live very peaceful lives here in the Southeast Asia. This one looked kind of stuck though. Check out this guy. I don't know why, but Moray eels always look angry, and this one is no exception. It's showing its teeth to know what we're dealing with. Whenever we talk about clownfish, the first image that comes to mind is Finding Nemo, the fish with the bright orange and white stripes. But actually, clownfish come in so many different colors, and here are some examples of them. These ones are brownish and kind of black with white stripes. Right here we got hit by a very strong current. We had to hold on to a rope just so we could stay in place. But all of a sudden I felt this pinch in my foot. Apparently when I was trying to keep myself in place, I stepped on smaller Moray eels. The Moray eel got really angry and bit my leg. But I was lucky because I was wearing a fin, so the fin kind of protected me, the plastic on the fin. But it is still went through the plastic, its teeth, even though it was a small one. I got really lucky that it wasn't a big Moray eel, because this little guy was really angry. I always find sweet lips fish very fascinating. They look like they got lip injection, which makes them extremely attractive. Oh, two sea turtles. The first time I saw them, I couldn't believe how big these animals are. These sea creatures are so majestic and so graceful. The only thing is you should never hover above them because they have to go up for breathing. This is a stonefish. They're quite hard to spot, so I was excited to see one. Just watch it disappear. How do, don't mind me, I'm just a parrotfish passing by. Parrotfish are actually one of the most essential fish for the ecosystem. They scrape off algae off of the coral. If you allow too much algae on coral, they will suffocate. A force to be reckoned with, Titan triggerfish. Most of the triggerfish attacks are done by Titan triggerfish. In case if you find yourself near their nesting ground, you gotta watch out for these guys. In total, I did about 7 dives from Iboih Beach, and these 2 were the most memorable, especially seeing octopus. I will never forget that. Those intelligent animals, they're just amazing to see. Overall, these 2 dives on my second day in Iboih Beach were some of the most memorable dives I've ever done in my life. And best of all, they're done pretty cheaply. Around 350,000 per dive, so you really get your money's worth. Once again, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I am working on a lot of new content, so the encouragement to keep going really helps a lot.